Another episode of Set the Pipe with CK, Bear, and Sully. What's up, fellas?
What's up? Good to be back.
Yeah, man, it's been a bit. A lot of stuff going on in the world of volleyball right now. I went to Indianapolis, saw Holly McPeak, which was fantastic. I want to talk to you guys about that. There's been some almost close upsets in the men's game, and Bear's been coaching. So yeah, guys, what's going on?
I went to the Long Beach Grand Canyon match the other night on Friday.
Yeah.
That was a thriller in 3. The second set was pretty good. It was like, I think, 27-25. Coley, I ran into Matt Boyce, by the way.
Oh, you did? Love Matt Boyce.
Down in the sandbar. We had a blast.
Beautiful. He's such a great guy.
I did mention, the reason I'm bringing this up, not only because he is a great guy, but he's like, hey, I like the podcast.
Yeah, that's
He
awesome.
knew about it. I didn't even have to bring it up.
That's
so
great.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I was like, hey, would you like to be on it? And he's like, yeah, I would.
Would you say, I mean, you went to the match, Long Beach State just a head and shoulders above everyone right now? Would you? I mean, that's what I think.
I was going to ask the same thing because I've been watching from here, and I'm like, oh, you hate to say it, but they're way up there right now. I mean, UCLA's too, but then there's that drop. So yeah, I'm curious what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, they beat UCLA 3 straight at UCLA.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
after
hard to do.
Yeah, after winning at home in a big match, like a week later, you come back, go up there. Great crowd at Pauley.
Yeah.
Well, actually, great crowd at Pauley, and they beat them and beat them handily. So
in Pauley.
In Pauley, I just don't know right now if anyone's there yet. That doesn't mean the end of the season. There's teams that won't be, but Al trains them well. They got some good players. I don't know if anyone's going to catch them, but we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, what'd you think, Bear? I mean, you finally got to see an 80-mile-per-hour.
Yeah, that was my first match of the year, actually, that I could catch. And the angle down there at the sandbar is great because you're down on the floor, and these guys are jumping, they're flying. The athleticism is unbelievable. And, I caught an 80-mile-an-hour serve. I didn't catch it, but I saw it, and it was unbelievable. I don't think I could have caught it.
I don't think I could see it either back in the day. I was like lucky to just stand in the back and take a little jump serve, like roll shot. Like he can absolutely, I mean, they all do, but throwing it as high as they can, just take a step back and an absolute wrap. And when you're serving the ball that hard, it's hard to track it, let alone pass it.
Yeah, and if that thing moves just a little bit, you're done.
Yeah,
right? Because it's all topspin. If it just moves, you're like, I thought I had it. I thought I was in a good position to get it.
I don't want to give this away, but here's one of the things that they're doing at Long Beach that I think is pretty amazing. When Nikolov is back row and they get like a free ball, they're basically setting him out of the back row. And he's got 17
so he has
attempts.
options.
So he's getting kills out of the back row, or he just sets the ball.
Yeah,
which is unbelievable. I've never even heard of that play before. And he's crushing balls. He's crushing Ds, or basically pipes, out of the back row.
So they set the
They're
pipe.
Setting the pipe.
That's as they should.
And by the way,
that?
subscribe, baby. Coley was getting the same thing. It's funny because I get that all the analytics about every social media stuff that we're on and YouTube and everything, and we're getting views like crazy, and it's great. Just people just aren't pressing that button, right? Press that button or putting that bell on YouTube to make sure they know when the next session is. So yeah, all good stuff. So yeah, I'm glad you went, Bear. That's awesome, because Coley's got to be able to see the men's. I got to see the men, so it's good to hear your perspective.
I mean, I went back to back seeing Long Beach State, at UCLA at Long Beach State, and then to go watch USC at UCI, and 2 phenomenal matches with some great players, and then Northridge. My Matadors they've beaten Grand Canyon. They've beaten USC.
Yeah.
Theo's doing an amazing job. They're starting to, maybe you heard what I said when I started about saying Northridge, and I've never heckled the school, but it's great. He's doing an amazing job. They're a tough team.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, Grant, we said this a long time ago, just the fact that we're mentioning Grand Canyon in men's volleyball is rad. It's just rad for the sport. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great school, great environment at the campus. But they have a great men's team now, right? They're one of the better teams, and it's great. So good for men's volleyball.
Yeah. Long Beach met them in the semifinals last year. I mean, that's huge. And thanks to Theo for giving us a shout out too. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. We're going to have him on here. I text him, and he said he'd love to come on. So I think he'd be a great person to talk to, just for a lot of reasons. He's kind of like Al at Long Beach. Played there,
stayed there,
was an assistant there. Now the head coach. The program didn't need to be turned around. I mean, it's always been, going in the right direction for the most part, but Jeff Campbell, when he retired, he'd been there for a long time, and Theo brought new blood into this, and it's an exciting time there at Northridge. I'm excited to see, I think it's his second year there, second or third year as the head coach, and I can't see it going anywhere but up. It's good for him, good for them.
Yeah, so I don't want to steal our East Coast correspondent, Dave DeTinley's thunder, but he did give us a rundown, the D3. I think I sent that to you guys, but he says, and the number 1 team in the country, NYU, clashed with the number 6 Springfield last weekend. They won 3-0. Number 4 Stevens beat number 13 Hobart. And there's been some good matches. He's been giving us some great rundown, but right now he's in the midst of doing club with his son, so he's not available to come on here as much as we'd like. But just to give us a heads up, I want to give him a quick little shout out that we hear you, Dave. We're going to let everybody know you're doing some hard work for us. So all good stuff.
Kind of a cool thing also today is one thing that I love about sports, and we kind of talked about this, or at least I did in my first pod, is just the camaraderie and the friendship you have. I mean, like us 3 are sitting here today, right? And, we played together 30 years ago, against each other 30 years ago. So today's just really random. I got a text about a week or two ago from a guy I played volleyball with at Northridge. I have not seen in probably 28 years. We had coffee this morning.
No kidding.
Great to catch up. Took a picture with him, and I put it on this text chain of about, he's not on this, but there's probably 25, 30 Northridge guys that played volleyball from the late 80s to the mid 90s. So during my time, little pre me, little post me, all the guys, Price is on it, Coach is on it.
Awesome.
Coach Dave Rubio, who was at Arizona for long, he's a Northridge guy. There's a lot of people on this text chain. And it just made me think of just the friendship and being part of sports and going through all of those things today of, just sending a picture of someone I hadn't seen, talking to all my friends, telling the stories about some of the things we were able to do in the 90s that you just couldn't do now. The hazing, maybe having drinks on a bus on the way home, like things like that, like people get arrested for today, but like just the joy and the fun of like having that on a text chain today. And I was just so grateful that we get to do this, especially today after, being on a text chain for maybe it was like 30 minutes, just the fun stories, like story after story after story after story. And it's just great, so.
Yeah, real good stuff. We even talked about having the A6 Paul Mitchell kind of alumni. I mean, before us with Raymond Construction, after me, and that can go on forever.
And this was
awesome.
my point. See, I love to just talk, and I forget my point. So on that text chain, you were talking about D3 volleyball, right? So that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
So on that text chain, Chris McGee is sitting. He's texting back and forth, telling stories. He's like, "I'm watching my nephew play club volleyball for the University of Oregon, streaming." And his brother's up there. I know his brother well. And he's saying it's unbelievable. It's great volleyball, right? And their team in the club realm is more of like the 80s, 90s feel like when we did. They're taking vans, right? They're not getting their NIL and flying privates and being bitching because they don't have, prepaid meals sitting at the airport. Like, they're getting on vans and they're cruising together. And that was my point of being it all together is, he's watching his nephew play men's volleyball for the University of Oregon on the internet, right? Like you just talked about D3 and, you just went to Long Beach, Grand Canyon. And, when we played in the 90s, Grand Canyon wasn't there. Oregon didn't have a club team. Like there's just so many things that have changed for the sport of volleyball. And I can't wait to sit here and be quiet for a second in a minute and listen to your adventure, Sully, with the pro All-Star game. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. Let me close out with Dave. So in my opinion, the big news is after 12 years hiatus, Gallaudet University, right? It's a deaf school, is bringing back men's volleyball, and that's been 12 years. So it's the barrier-free for deaf and hard of hearing students. So that is huge for our sport. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
This weekend. So went to Indianapolis, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have any expectations because I'm like, okay, they're just starting out pro. Who's going to show up? It's in Indianapolis. We start pulling up into the parking lot, and we're waiting to park. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a good sign. So I text Holly real quick, and she's like, sold out. Historic moment. I'm like, no kidding. This freaking sold out? Really? So we finally park and we strut in, and it was half full by the time we got there, and they had like fire coming out during the national anthem and all the lights going on, and it was a showcase, and it was
How big's the
sold
venue?
out. It was,
If you had, give or take,
ooh, that's a
$5
good
grand, $7 grand,
No,
less than
it's-
that.
I think it. It's, you know what? Probably comparable to probably Long Beach State's type of attendance. I think
about
it's
7, I
19
think.
rows high kind of thing on
Oh,
each
okay.
side, packed. I mean, it's all you know. It wasn't bench seat; it was just individual seats, which was great. I had 4 or 5 teenage kids, boys behind me, which was fantastic. And then you had dads and with their daughters, and the autographs
awesome. So
afterwards.
cool.
I mean, I'll show it on this podcast, but I just stood in one place and took a picture to my left and picture to my right, and you stitch that together. I mean, they were waiting for a very long time to get autographs with these pros, and it was a typical all-star type of play. Like, you know, the chemistry is not going to be there. It's not going to be super smooth with the setters, but the defense was on showcase because they can just go back and play all the defense they want, right?
Yeah.
So, and like in the NBA or something, it's just not that flow. But besides that, I mean, even the national anthem was just, she was so good. Everybody went bonkers, and that's how it all started. So they had to do some things for TV in terms of time, but besides that, they showcased. They really did. And to have it sold out in Indianapolis, I was really impressed. And like I said, I just got to say hi real quick to Holly, just snap a picture. But she goes, "What'd you think? Was that awesome or what?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it really was." And it'll be interesting to see what the other leagues do and how they perform, right? Because there's 3, 4 now. So, but worth the trip for sure. I would encourage anybody to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to see something like that. Last weekend in Kansas City, there was one of the biggest junior girls tournaments. It's Triple Crown, I think it's
Triple
called.
Crown, yeah. It used to be in Salt Lake for a while. Yep.
Yeah, and during that, they also did like a love festival. So they tried to do something probably similar to that All-Star game, and there was a big thing there last weekend. So it's just, looking at both of those leagues and what they're doing and just promoting the sport. And like you said, it was sold out.
Yep.
It was on national television. Holly's doing the game. It's great for the sport of volleyball. It's great for the sport of women's volleyball. It's great for the sport of volleyball.
I mean, yeah, Jalen Rose that was there hosting, and then you had Division I's outstanding coaches. You had Dan Fisher there. You had Ulmer there. That's now at Kansas, and it wasn't necessarily who's, but they were there and they were vested. They were not on their phones. They were into the match. I don't think I saw Jalen Rose on his phone except on timeouts. Yeah, they were into it. So like I said, it was really good to see. It was just a great event.
How did it go? Like, what was was it in 3? Did it go 4 sets, 5 sets?
Yeah, with the time it did was 2 out of 3, but just to 15, right? So to 25. Wow, that was old school. Wow. To 25, so
there, Sully?
they could have won 25, 24. They could have. Yeah, hold on.
Nothing wrong with that.
Cheers.
I went to
brunch today, by the way, Coley. So I've had a few.
Little juice.
I got to go on a gnarly hike. Like, hey, we're gonna take a walk. And the next thing I know, it's like 3 miles up and down. I'm dripping sweat. It's great. And then I get to come and go right into the cold plunge and come right to the pod. I feel great.
Sweet.
Thanks, Moons. Yeah, we're gonna go on a real nice mellow walk. Yeah.
Right around the block. Right.
Yeah. Just around the bend. I've heard that my whole life. It's just around the bend, and then 15 miles later, 36 bends later, I'm finally there. Yeah, just around the bend.
So the third set with Bear, it really just came down to timing, how much time, they were going to end it at 8, and then they were going to go 15, and the overall winner had combined points. So there was a couple of twists here and there, and it was good for them to experiment. That was the time to do so. So instead of just saying, hey, we're going to try this out for everybody across the world. So it was different, but it was definitely towards the TV stuff. And I'm sure they put 2 hours into the venue financially. So
was the crowd into it? I know that was packed, but were they like kind of into it? Was there exciting times to cheer for?
Yeah. I mean, they had the wave going, which was cool. They had an MC going on in between on timeout. So it wasn't dead space. She always was talking to somebody or bringing, like, they had 2 not NASCAR, but dragster women out there to interview them, to different type of people. But it wasn't, like I said, so if you've ever been to an NBA All-Star game, it wasn't like everybody's going crazy because it's the home team. It wasn't the home team. It was everybody, right?
Yeah.
So, and then, you heard some people go, wow, I was really expecting the crowd to be really into it. I'm like, well, it's an all-star. It's not, your home championship match. I think it would go off the chain if that was the case. But I thought it was typical for professional all-star, but to have it packed for their inaugural, I thought was pretty cool. And the one-handed snag, by the way, that was impressive. You guys would have been impressed by me. They're throwing up these little volleyballs up in the stands. It was the first ball to go up into the stands.
Did you lay out for it?
No, I literally just stuck on my. Okay, Cole, you're gonna love this. It came in slow motion, right? Because I'm like, okay, that ball's kind of coming to us. Oh, it's like coming right at us. And I looked this way. I stuck up my hand that way and just snagged it in one hand. And I just was like, there you go. Got it.
Sweet.
All the teenage boys behind were like, come on, because I snagged it in front of them.
Yeah.
But they had their
should have
chance.
dove over you. They're younger.
That's right. Well, they
So I
had
would've
another one
done
come
when
up
I
and
was
hit their
13.
hands, and it went off. I'm like, well, you guys weren't going to catch that first one anyway. Come on, dude. Yeah. But I was super
It's
impressed
amazing.
with myself.
Bear, how's the team doing?
We played Antelope Valley, who I thought we would have a chance. It was basically our only win last year, and they came in and they didn't smash us, but yeah, it's not good. I mean, we're young, and we're getting better, but we're just not there.
Do you need CK to come in and give him a little talk?
That would be great.
I think you
help
should
us,
mic him
actually.
up. I think Bear should get mic'd up.
We had I think we were up 23-22 in the second, and gave it up. Yeah, we're just.
Yeah. They just lost in basketball, though, too. Your school just lost the championship.
Oh, they did with Dixon, your guy Dixon.
Yeah, I was surprised that they lost to Fullerton.
So was that playoffs? Do you know? Because I thought they were in the playoffs.
It was for the league, and now they go to the playoffs now.
Okay,
that was like winning the conference or whatever it was. So
because it'd be nice to get on center court for practice, even though we've been in the season for like two months now.
Those damn basketball players
we
basketball.
get booted all the time. But Todd's running a great program there.
He does.
He's come in and he's done well.
Is there another gym besides that big one, like another auxiliary place to practice or anything like that?
Unfortunately, there's not.
It's just the big one.
That gym is amazing.
Yeah, it's
by the
great.
way, I'd like to throw, just talk a little bit about it for a second for recruiting purposes. But so our AD, Martin Stringer, he used to be a soccer coach and the AD at Mater Dei.
Nice.
Yeah, and so he does a great job. And he's the one that basically got that gym built. It's almost identical to Mater Dei's gym. And 20 years ago, so 20 years ago it was great at Mater Dei, and then we've had it now for 12 years or something like that. And it is unbelievable. It's air conditioned. It's a high ceiling. We've had both national teams play there.
Oh, I've been there a bunch. I've seen women's CIF championships, state championships. My kids played a bunch of hoops there, a bunch of tournaments there. Been there a bunch. I think it's a great facility, and that's what I think makes that, and what Dixon's done there is Santiago Canyon College is a jewel, right? It's in a really nice, cool place.
It's a nice neighborhood,
and the facilities are great. I mean, they've done a really nice job.
It's an excellent place to play, and we have a lot of events there, and just trying to build that volleyball team.
Hey, are you guys going to be able to get out since beach volleyball started? You guys going to be able to go out and see that? I mean, because I think there was an upset. SC just lost, right?
Yeah, I don't know who they lost to, though. I should have, because I was texting Dane the other day. They did beat Hawaii to start, but they're number one in the country. They're still going to be real good. They'll be in the hunt of it all. I need to get him on here, too. He'd be great to talk beach volleyball. Stein, too, would be a good one just to talk about coaching at UCLA and then moving out to Texas and seeing the growth of the women's beach game, especially in college, would be a great conversation, I think.
Yeah, SC's number one right now, and then TCU's number 2, UCLA's 3, Cal Poly's 4, then Stanford, Florida State, LMU, LSU, Cal, Long Beach State finishes out the top 10. Then it gets into Arizona State, Hawaii, Georgia State, Washington, Texas, FAU, NIU, and North Florida. GCU and Stetson rounds out the top 20, just to let you guys know. So there's a lot of stuff going around the country. It's just not even in Southern California anymore. It's all over the place. And Stein's at Texas, right?
Yeah, University of Texas. And the other thing about women's beach volleyball, it's been, I think flag football will take over if it becomes a women's college sport, but it's the fastest growing women's. I think might even be the fastest growing college sport ever. I know it's clearly the fastest growing women's sport, and it's such a great game. And the format, that's another thing we should probably talk about it when
Holly brought that up in her interview. She brought that up about the format.
Yeah, it's actually like, I used to go watch college tennis because I had friends that played it. So it's similar to that, right? It's like it's team format, even though you're playing individual
matches. Right.
So like it's a 3 out of 5 and there's 5 matches, but you got to win 3 of the 5. So that's 10 women playing, 5 teams of 2. So it's not just one person, and it's just a cool way to watch a tournament. Everyone's involved and engaged, and to see women's volleyball go like, 5, 6, 7 years ago, whenever it started in women's volleyball, there was UCLA, there's a few teams. Now, like you just said Stetson, right? Like Stetson's in the top 20 for women's beach volleyball. A lot of great coaches have moved over to different places. Cal Poly's great. Florida State's great. Yeah, it'll be fun this year to watch. Dane is 4 national championships in a row at USC. He's trying to 5-peat, not wow. 4, but which is just incredible. Jenny Johnson-Jordan's at UCLA. She's trying to bring that title back. Stein's trying to build Texas. Todd Rogers at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, Brooke Niles at Florida State. Like, there's a lot of really great coaches helping grow the sport of women's beach volleyball, and it's going to be fun to see it continue to grow.
It's interesting because those high school kids, even college kids, don't even know their history of their coach. You know what I mean? And those are the type of stories we need on Set the Pipe. Like, do they not know what you've done for our sport? And they don't. I mean, literally, that's what Holly McPeak said. One of the recruits that are going out to Wisconsin is like, gosh, I think I'll start watching volleyball. She's like, what? Are you nuts? And by the way, do you not know who you're telling this to? Miss 72 victories on the AVP, right? So, that's where Set the Pipe needs to come into play and take care of these guys.
I do, and I think us telling stories and getting it out there is important. But, the other thing is, and I think we've probably talked about this on a few pods, is it hasn't been readily available also. To be fair to the not just beach, but the casual volleyball fan, like someone like I said, and I'll probably say this another million times on this show.
You talk too much?
Yeah, well, that is for sure. That's for sure happening. I say that for sure because that's true. I love it. It's true. Unbelievable. Yes, I do talk too much.
Yeah, but
is that Saturday game, watching Alabama football, turning over to watch Wisconsin? Like, like just that alone is the fact that we never had that. No one ever had that. So if you're a young girl, 10-year-old volleyball player that's just starting outside with your dad, peppering and you'd have to come and there's no TV to watch unless you find it and stream the game and hopefully you get it on watching something. Now you can go on to ESPN Plus. Now you can go on to CBS or whatever it was,
YouTube,
and watch live matches around the country from high school, college, pro, beach, Europe, all over. So now you can actually, if you're not a student of the game, if first of all, if you're an athlete and you want to be great and you want to play at the next level, if you're not watching the sport you're playing, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage.
It's there for you.
It's there for you just to learn and watch and grow and understand. And on top of what you're saying is learning your history. I wasn't, reading everything on volleyball when I was in, it wasn't around, but we had Volleyball Monthly. We knew everyone we were playing, but it's so readily available for these folks that if you're a 12-year-old girl playing juniors and you're like, I want to go to this high school in 3 years, that's like one of the better in your area. And you're thinking, I want to go to Stanford or I want to go to Pitt or I want to go to Louisville or whatever. If you're not watching those matches, if you're in an area and you're not going to matches, then I'm going to say it, you're doing yourself a huge disservice because you're not understanding what's really at that level to see, right?
Yeah.
You think you do, but you don't.
And you hear the whole coach's kid. Oh, yeah, that must be a coach's kid. Well, yeah, because they're in the gym or they got the TV on with anybody can be a coach's kid, right? A coach's kid. Just watch it. And I think a big part of it is listening to it, right? If there's a good commentator on that talks about the strategies and this is how all things work, not anything about history, just like you said, Coley, nothing about history, but just about today's game, man, they can just be so much more higher volleyball IQ as they're playing. And they can step up into to their club team. They can make that varsity high school. I think it's extremely important. And I just hope a wave of parents really just start putting on our sport while instead of just going to practices and dropping them off, actually having it on for the girls to watch, and boys too. I mean, either or, it doesn't matter.
No, I think as a player, if you want to be decent at your sport, you can go onto YouTube and you can watch how to pass, you can watch how to jump, you can watch all that stuff, and it's just going to help you as an individual, and it can help your team as well. I mean, it's a must anymore.
Yeah, but it's also just the little things of watching a match, like when's the timeout, what's the guy doing and who's he setting? Like if you're a young setter and you go watch Nikolov play, right, for an example, and he makes 2 mistakes in a row, which probably wouldn't, but let's say he does. How does he handle that?
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? Does he set the same guy because he believes in him? Do you see what he does? Like, if I want to be that guy, I want to see what he's doing. I want to learn what he's doing. I want to see him fail. I want to see him be successful.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. And so, like, it's crazy to me that kids don't watch it. And I see it on the basketball side. Like, how do you not watch college basketball when you want to go play college basketball? Like,
right. Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy to me. But I think I'm happy, and all of us want to be happier with regards to watching this sport grow. But I'm pretty happy where it's at and where it's trending.
Yeah. And trending is for sure.
Being able to just turn on a game on a weekend in September for women's volleyball, turning on ESPN for beach volleyball. Again, Holly was mentioning having more live events, which would be great. But yeah, I think it's great. The more kids can watch it, the more we can watch it, the more it's on, the more it becomes mainstream, the better it is for the growth of the sport, for the players, for the pros. I mean, everyone wants to be a pro, right? That gets more money, it gets more engagement, it gets more sponsorships, more folks wanting to be a part of it. All of that happens with the game being played and people watching it, right? And it's a fun game to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it was we got to get Bear in front of some women's games. So that's going to be the tide turning a little bit, is getting him more educated with the women's going on. Because I mean, it's just not like how it used to be. Even if you went to Long Beach State every once in a while, good players, geez, top 5 in the country type of thing. The play is totally different now, Bear. I mean, so we got to get you in some kind of gyms. Even go to a qualifier for juniors. You're going to see some very talented high school kids that you're like, holy smokes, right? And so we all three got to get out there and just kind of check it all out. And it'll be fun.
A high-level women's game today is played like the men's game when we were in the 90s. And I mean, it's really, that's the way I look at it. Like, it's bombing serves, bombing outside hits, running bicks. Like, the women are doing all of that. And we were just exploring that in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Like just running a bick maybe, or shooting
we
the
ball
ball.
like,
and
jump
like
serve.
Hilly, the way Hilly would hit that fast set. Not everyone was hitting that fast set, but his arm and the way he could do it, like everyone hits that now, right? So like it's it's
a dynamic
awesome
game now.
Yeah, it's really dynamic, and it's dynamic everywhere. Like you said, go watch girls juniors. I was blown away watching 12-year-old juniors last year. I was like, this is like better than my high school teams. Like, and these girls are in 5th and 6th grade, like passing, running slides, like.
And it's a good wake-up call for the parents that think they want their kids to go D1, right? Okay, then, because I would do this when I was a director of club, and I'm like, okay, let's go look at the open. And they're like, okay, so where's our age group? Because they look like they're 17, 18-year-old, and they're 14, And I said, this is 14 open. Like this, they're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, you see that coach, see that coach, see that coach, see that? That's all Division I coaches, because they're looking at this program, right? But it puts in perspective. Not that your kid can't go to the next level, but perspective. You need perspective. And we always talk about this as having a fit. So to go watch him nowadays, yeah, Bear, yeah, you got it.
I'll definitely go. You want to jump into a little bit of UCLA and UCI?
Hey, let's get into the rankings first, and then you'll transition to that. Cool.
I don't know much about it, but I know UCLA.
Well, rankings come out soon right now, but as of right now, Long Beach State has all the first place votes for the men's volleyball Division 1 and 2. Then it goes to UCI, UCLA, Hawaii, SC, and BYU. Loyola at 7. Ball State and Grand Canyon come in tied at 8. Stanford rounds out the top 10. Pepperdine, Northridge at 12. Lewis,
CSUN, baby.
That's right.
UCSD, Matadors, top 12 in the country.
Ohio State at 15. Santa Barbara 16. Kendry, Lincoln Memorial at 18, Penn State, and then Princeton rounds out the top 20. There you have it. Bear.
But I'm thinking
true.
UCI is, UCLA is going to have to be in the second seed there.
Did they just beat UCI?
They beat UCI twice this week. They beat them at beat them at UCI in 3, and then beat them at home in 5. I guess it was a thriller.
Wow.
15-10 in the 5th. But UCLA is making a surge there, so I got to think they got to jump up to second seed.
You would think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of it or anything. I just was reading it, but it seems like, Hawks is making a move.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, like I said, I think all those teams could battle. I'm sure Long Beach could lose, but they're really good. And I think they're just a little bit better. They're older. They've all played, except Nikoloff's not old, but he's old because he's played at that level.
That high level, for a long time.
So it's gonna be tough to beat them. And but it could happen. And I'm sure they're not going to go undefeated. So someone's going to beat them sooner or later.
I don't know this yet. Maybe you can pull it up, Sully. When do they play UCI? Long Beach.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to that game with you, Bear.
Yeah, let's do it.
At UCI, you said, or
either way.
Yeah.
So they've got Northridge at Northridge on Wednesday the 5th.
Yeah,
and then they play Northridge at the Pyramid on the 14th, which is a Friday.
Yeah. It might be available.
UCI isn't until March 28th. That's a Friday at Long Beach.
I could maybe do that one.
They go back to back with UCI.
Friday and Saturday?
Friday, Saturday. Friday at the Pyramid.
That'll be exciting.
UCI Saturday the 29th. Whoa.
Wow, back to back.
Damn. That's wow.
Gnarly matches too. And that'll be right in the heat of it.
They got Santa Barbara back to back. They've got Hawaii back to back. Oh, that's all they're doing. UCSD back to back.
When do they play Hawaii? Oh, is that UCI you're looking at?
No, Long Beach.
Long Beach.
At Hawaii.
Oh.
Are we going?
We should go to that one. I think Set the Pipe should.
I would love to go to that one.
Yeah, I think we should all go to that one. Maybe do our first live podcast.
That would be a nice goal, fellas.
From the beach.
Nice goal, yeah.
From the beach at the outrigger.
Oh yeah, that'd be rough.
How about this? I'm working at camp with Niper, in Oslo, Norway, in a couple months.
Oh, nice.
That should be kind of fun, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Norway's a beautiful country.
Okay,
It
so
is.
do you have a laptop?
Yes.
Dude, bring the laptop, bring
It's
your
not
webcam.
till September, but yeah.
Oh, bring your webcam and bring your portable USB.
I'll bring everything.
Yeah, you don't
We'll
need
do a pod
you don't
from
need the
Norway.
arm. You don't need the arm or anything. Just bring it and put it on the little stand and do it from there.
Okay.
Coming from Norway, Big Bear. Who's
Hopefully
next to
it
you,
won't
buddy?
be as bad as his Park City debacle. But, they probably have better internet in Norway than they do in Park City. Kidding.
Utah or
Kidding.
wherever.
Kidding.
Probably not, actually. Probably aren't kidding.
So as we're sitting here looking at things before you talk about UCI, UCLA, I got to just tell a funny story and see if you think this would go over well today in today's sports.
Okay.
We're playing up at Stanford and Pacific. We sweep them both. It's a huge weekend for Northridge. We're driving back on the Grapevine in the Mattabus, probably 3 a.m.
You
Everyone's
guys didn't fly?
No, we didn't.
Sorry.
My freshman year, we drove to Provo, Utah. From Cal State Northridge.
Wow.
12-hour drive.
Oh.
I'm a freshman. This is a freshman year. We're in vans driving to Provo, Utah for spring break.
Did you
and
really?
Stayed at the Motel 6. And because it was cheaper, we stayed the entire week. We played 2 matches.
Oh, yeah.
So we stayed like the entire week. So my first year in college, like, oh, yeah, you're a freshman, spring break. We went to Cancun. What'd you do? I was in Provo at the Motel 6. It was fantastic. And we drove there. But again, looking back, those drives are amazing. The flight's fun. But so we're driving back from the Grapevine. We beat Stanford Pacific. I don't know how beers got into the back of the bus, but they did somehow. Team, coaches, everyone. It's like 3 a.m. We're driving. Me and McGee are in the back. Everyone's pretty much sleeping, and we're like not weaving in the bus. And those buses like the schools would have, not the big ones, but
the minivan.
The mini bus. And we're looking up, and all of a sudden we're looking up at the top. Me and him were talking. We like look up at the and the guy driving the bus was an assistant football coach.
Okay.
And we're gonna leave names out, and was a great guy. All of a sudden, he has this huge jug of water, opens it up, and me and him, Geeter and I, just happen to be looking at the front, and he's just pouring the water over his head. We're talking like a gallon jug of water, so he can stay awake.
That's hilarious.
He wasn't drinking, of course, but we're in the Mattabus, like the 90s in sports. Like everyone would be fired. Everyone, oh my God, parents would be freaking out. Like it was such a fun trip, but like just thinking about like the difference of playing at Long Beach and Northridge in the 90s compared to a lot of places.
That reminds me of a little bit of a story, Coley. When we were playing on Paul Mitchell, I think we were playing in Dallas, but we flew into Austin and had to drive up to Dallas and then had to drive back to Austin to fly out because it was cheaper. And the games you and Geeter would play in the van, like that 1, 2, 3, back to 2, 1. Do you remember any of those games that you guys used to play?
They probably
still do these mind games. And Schroeder and I, it would just go, we're like, what are these guys doing? And then you guys would like repeat. Like I know a couple lines from movies, but
oh
you
my
and
God,
Geeter
they're the
knew
worst
like
or the
pages
best.
of dialogue. I mean, where did all that come from? That was unbelievable.
Basically, Paul Mitchell. And I felt I was just so stupid because I don't sit in front of the TV and watch all these movies. And they would pull them out of their ass and know them like line by line and feed off each other. You're like, how do they do this?
It was unbelievable, your guys' dialogue. What was the game though where you would count and it had to be an odd number and you'd start?
That I don't remember. I mean, I remember the game, but I don't remember like exactly specific. But we were doing it, and but listen, you had to manufacture fun, right? Like, and that's the thing we talk about it.
No phones.
With the kid. Yep, that's the thing. We talk about it with the kids today. Like, I don't know how I would do if I grew up in today's generation. I'm sure it'd be great to have the phone, be able to text your friends and all that stuff. But like, we had to create and find things to do. Like you're in the van with 8 guys. You're driving 10 to 12 hours to Provo, Utah. There's no phones. You maybe have the old Sony Walkmans that just with like the yellow that had the tape. This is pre-CD, right?
Yeah, right.
And you're doing that. Like you gotta have fun. And we did have fun. And that's the thing. And listen, if you're not watching movies, that's on you. I mean, I'll still watch movies. I still quote movies every day.
Oh my gosh, you guys are
funny movies. I mean, we love Fletch, right? We love Chevy.
Yeah.
Things like that, and it's just classic.
You know who was great with that with Long Beach was Winslow. Okay, so Winslow used to have this raincoat that went down to his knees, and it had 20 pockets in it, and he would wear it anytime we were going out of town for an away trip. And like in one pocket, he had a deck of cards. In another pocket, he had these bottle caps that had like little puzzles on it. In another pocket, he had something else. And so when there was downtime and we got bored, he would pull something out and he would make us all get together. And it was like a team bonding thing. And we had fun and we passed the time that way. It was just unbelievable.
Different times, different times, and different times in with like just what's allowed and what's not allowed. The hazing back in the day, like, we used to shave guys' heads and stuff like that. Like that wouldn't
eyebrows.
Go over. Yeah, that wouldn't go over well now. Like parents would freak, kids would freak, like administrations would freak. And it was all in fun. It was never meant to hurt anyone. At least the teams that I ever played, I was kind of tried to always be somewhat of a leader if I could. We just wouldn't stand for like that. Like it's one thing to do it for fun. It's another thing to be a complete jerk and ruin someone's life. And we would never do that. But what's happened is now you can't do any of it. Like that was all in fun and jest, and we used to do all that kind of stuff. I don't know if there's a place for like bad hazing, but I do feel like being brought up into the new part of, as you're a freshman, like when you're a freshman, you set the nets up. I didn't. Right. That's beside the point. But all the freshmen, freshmen sets the nets up. The freshmen get the balls. Like you're a junior, you're a senior. No. I've been here. I don't do that. You do it. I don't care who you do it. Right? And so,
that's the culture of your program.
Yeah. Right. And I've had cultures where the seniors put up everything because they want it their specific way. They want it done their way, and they can show the younger ones how to do it and take pride and all that kind of stuff. But I'm more with Coley. Most of the freshmen did it. But when I ran a couple cross those type of cultures, I would ask, like, freshmen don't do this? Like, no, we do it totally opposite, and I'll tell you why. And that's exactly what it was. It was just kind of the mentor to say, this is how we do things. This is the rite of passage, that kind of thing. So it worked for them. I mean, like you said, but the culture of the team. So, but no, you can't get away with that stuff today. No way. No way.
I hope, and part of me doing this isn't just to talk volleyball. It's also we're talking sports and, you know, parents and youth and everything, promoting everything. I really hope more people can find the past going forward into the future. Like when teams like us had those moments, we had those bondings, we got to do stuff that mattered, and now it's all lost. It's forget the NIL era and all that stuff, but it's like everyone wants the next best thing. You want to fly private, you want to fly, you know, charter. I understand why, for school and stuff. You want all of the best food and the clothing and all that stuff, and there's no, like, I don't know, no history of just finding the team and bonding together and enjoying that and experiencing that for your 3 or 4 or 5 years and having that be part of your entire life. And I think it's kind of lost, and parents just want to play. You just want to get paid. You just want to this, you want to start, you want to all these things. And you lose sight of all the stuff we just talked about.
And then it's gone.
The card games.
Yeah. How many times were you in a van and you couldn't find the gym?
Yeah.
You're on campus and you're like, hey, co-ed, hey, where's the gym? And they point you in the wrong direction or whatever. Ridiculous. Just fun stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, like going into the past to the future. Like, I think a lot of that is lost. Like you said, the van rides and the things that should matter get lost in the hunt to be, well, I need to go to the next level. Like, I'm in juniors and I need to go to high school. And then when I'm in high school, I want to start on that club team. And then when I'm on the club team, I want to get a scholarship. And then when you're a scholarship, you want to be a pro. And like, you're forgetting to enjoy the process. The guy pulling out the cards at the airport and playing that game that might turn into a story that you'll remember for 50 years. But instead of doing that, you sit on your phone and just scroll through Instagram, right? Like, we were forced to do that.
So when we were, and here's just a dumb little story, but when we were getting ready to play at the national championship in Hawaii in Clem Gym, no, it was not Clem, it was Blaisdell. Right. But we had some dead time, and Winslow gets a quarter out, and he's swirling it around on a chair. He's just, how long can you get this quarter to go around in a circle like a toilet bowl thing? And it was a dumb thing.
Yeah.
But it got us all fired up, and we were all excited because it went 30 seconds or whatever it was. And I still remember that. And it kind of just, we were all tight and tense. But after that, it was just like, hey,
loose.
We were
Let's
relaxed.
go.
We went out, had a great warm-up and a great match, yada, yada, yada. But it was just little stuff like that where it brought us together. And it's one of the reasons why we're still friends to this day.
Yeah.
And we're tight. Stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Crazy fellows. Good stories. Love it.
Stories. Got lots of stories. Lots of stories.
Definitely
I mean, we're talking
episode.
On that same trip to Stanford when we came home on the bus with the coach pouring the water on his head.
That's hilarious.
There was a wrestling match in one of the rooms with a player and an assistant coach.
Oh.
Like, could you imagine?
Wow.
Imagine that today, like being, pushed up, tore up on the bed, like in a wrestling match, 4 or 5 of the kids laughing, another coach there, like, oh my gosh, like it would be on the ESPN storyline of just like what's going on. But that was a really fun weekend, and it was obviously we were sweeping Stanford and then sweeping Pacific was fun. But those things are what I miss the most. I of course I miss competing. I'd love to go out and play, but I miss that. I miss you and us three getting in an airport at some city, grabbing a rental van, laughing our way all the way to the hotel, checking in. Maybe 5 minutes goes by, we're down at the bar drinking.
Right.
Sure.
We're out at the club. We're up at 6 a.m. after going to bed at 5 and just siding out and winning and laughing and loving it. But like those that's what I miss the most, is all of that, is the stories and being able to be a part of that.
Freaking Schroeder has some stories, what he used to do too. And like, we were in Utah, Provo, Utah, and we were in a van, and we took it out that night.
Why is it all Provo? I got a BYU story too. Go ahead, Bear.
Yeah.
Love playing up there, by the way.
Yeah. It was our first match of the year, and what is the field house? Is that what they call it? And the crowd was going crazy, and it was nuts. And we ended up beating them, I think, in 4. We lost in the first set, but we had one of those minivans that had a long nose. You remember that? Like a long thing. And Schroeder got the key somehow, and we went out that night, and we came back. And you have to edit some of this out there.
No, I don't think so. I just think it's like I was laughing at it because I asked Michelle, like, do you think I could tell some of these things on this podcast? Like, are we going to get anyone in trouble? Like, but that was 35 years ago. Like, probably not. But like, there's a lot of things that wouldn't even come close to happening today.
No.
Right.
And again, we went to state schools in the 90s. Things were a lot different.
Yeah. I bought a lot of oil on Ray's credit card, but that's another thing for my car. But anyways, so Schroeder, when we came home that night, he's parking the car, and there's a huge snowbank, right? And he just piled it right into the window. So it went like 4 or 5 feet into the snowbank. And we get out, we leave, and then we come back the next morning, and the thing's half buried into the snowbank. And he's like, what the
Ray.
He parked it
God
5 feet.
damn it.
He parked it 5 feet into the snowbank. It was great.
Oh, Ray Rattel,
Just
I
fun
love you,
stuff.
Ray.
Yeah.
Edit.
Again, a lot of this would really go over well in today's sports.
Oh,
Hey, what are you guys doing today? We're going up to Stanford. Oh, yeah, we're going to drink on the way home with 40s. Guy driving the bus is just going to pour water over his head to make it home. It's going to be fantastic.
We were talking about Rich Tolman the other day, right?
Yeah.
And we were driving home from San Diego after the San Diego tournament down there. And Ray was driving one of those minibuses, and it was just Winslow, Tolman, and myself. And everybody else went home with their moms and dads and whatever. We got Ray to pull over at the gas station because we had to go to the bathroom, right? And we bought beer. And Tolman's a freshman, and he gets absolutely faced on this ride home. Winslow in a freaking trash can and dumps it out the window. And when we pull into Long Beach, like Tolman is so hammered he has to throw up, but he's a man and he holds it. Winslow and I are seniors. Tolman's a freshman. And as soon as we park, he runs out of the van and goes to the back of the van and just starts puking. And Ray's like, what's going on there, guys? And I think he's just a little car sick, coach. He's like, yeah, okay. But it was just like, and that was Tolman. And Tolman was a man for doing that because he could have thrown up in the van and all that.
Yeah, good dude.
But it was fun. Yeah, we snuck a 6-pack on or a 12-pack or whatever it was. And
Case, party
whatever.
ball.
Who knows?
Who's counting?
Winslow and I could put him away back then, but yeah.
Yeah,
Fun
so
stuff.
the Provo story I have is we went to a house party in Provo because it was football players, right? And so we go to this house party, and everybody kind of goes and checks it out. And I'm talking this one guy, football player, and all of a sudden Rhodes taps me on the shoulder. He goes, "Sully, you got to get in here. You got to get in here." I'm like, "What is going on?" And he grabs me, and I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" The Samoans cornered our volleyball team because they were going to beat the living shit out of them because they're like, "We hear you're the volleyball players. Like, you're going to tell on us, right?" Because they're drinking beer.
Oh.
And I'm like, so I get in front of this big ass Samoan, not sure what I was thinking at all. But I was like, "What's your problem, man? I mean, what's going on?" He's like, "Well, you're the volleyball players. You're going to turn us." I'm like, "We're from Long Beach State." "Yeah, we're volleyball players, but we're from Long Beach State." He's like, "What, brother? You're not the Cougars? You're not the..." I'm like, "No, dude, like, can you get out of our face?" He's like, "Yeah, bring these guys some beers." All of a sudden there was like, "Dude, Sully, thanks, brother." He goes, "Yeah, so they thought we were the BYU volleyball team, and we're gonna tell on them. So yeah, we're gonna narc on them." Those are big Samoans that were there that were gonna light us up. It was amazing.
I mean, I have a few more stories from BYU too, but I'll keep them on the down low. But I don't think I ever had a bad moment there. I don't even know if I ever lost there. We played there 3 years.
Yeah,
I don't think we did, but it was fun to play up there, and it was always great. Beautiful campus, beautiful area,
fans were
great
nuts.
fans,
They're
great.
in
They're
a good
always
sense.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great. It's always been fun up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy, but yeah, that's what's so. I got some feedback, like you said, Bear, earlier from Talman, but like I've talked to a bunch of people who love the podcast. People want to keep hearing stories, so we'll keep telling them. Some of them, like, we may edit it out, and you can go ahead and tell everyone we're going to edit it out and just put it to black screen.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's a few things that we could tell and a few things we can't.
Hey, there was one guy. Did we bring up Tim Kelly as
Yeah,
a possible guest?
Yeah.
I think we should get him because
No,
he's got
he'll
a
come. I already
great-
talked to him.
Okay,
He's in.
I love
He's
Tim
over-
Kelly,
yeah.
and he's all over the world all the time, and I think he would be great.
He probably,
He's
out
like
of
in Chile right now or something.
everyone that I can think of in the sport of volleyball in our generation over the last 30 years, I don't know if there's anyone that's done more
Yeah,
for people than he has.
yeah, he's
I mean,
won at volleyball.
He won.
he's
He's made
unbelievable.
he's taken He's been an agent. He brings
Yeah.
all these folks over for running like teams going over there, like tours, and like
he's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. So
and that trip down to Columbia with him was huge because of him too.
Yeah, he was great.
I think we need him.
Yeah, he would. I already talked to him. He said he would do it. This was I talked to him a few weeks ago. So I'll reach out in the next week. So a couple things. You know, we'll wait till we're done with the pod and talk about a few people that are coming on next for us.
So I was thinking of this song the other day, Coley. I heard it on the radio, and it's one of the songs we used to sing. And shoot, I can't think of it right now, but it's not na 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 na. It's maybe it was bounce bounce. Remember bounce bounce. Was that the song that we used to sing for Paul Mitchell or something? No, it wasn't that song. Shoot, I don't know. I'll have to remember and not just throw it out there. But I remember you singing that a little bit. And you would.
I sang a lot of things.
Yes, he did.
Besides American Pie, it wasn't American Pie. I know
USA.
American Pie. I've sang.
Yeah,
a couple times.
A lot. You did a good job with American Pie.
Sang it a few times.
Yeah.
My biggest one was at my friend's wedding. 600 people in the crowd with a band behind me.
Wow.
I felt like I was in a concert. I was putting on a concert for everybody.
I'm sure
when we get Geeter on here, the first night I met Geeter was in, I think, Dallas, and we were at the volleyball premiere party or whatever in the hotel, and there was a band playing in the hotel lobby, and it was a good band, and they were singing Brown Eyed Girl or whatever it was, and he got up and sang it, and I'm like, this guy's nuts. And I thought he was just going to get up there and just go, Brown Eyed Girl, but no, he sang it, he kept tune, he was like, it was awesome.
Geeter.
Yeah.
Geeter, really?
Do doing the Macarena in downtown Dallas. Do you remember that?
Yes. I remember doing the Macarena in Columbia before.
Yeah, we did that there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And at the end, when we won, we were in some little podunk bar, and he got up with the band and sang, I think, "Whip It," a Devo song.
Yeah, he did. In Columbia.
I don't remember in Columbia, but I think we were in Dallas.
It was at Nationals. It was in Dallas. You're right. He got up at that big bar and just killed it. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You know, most of the guys we've played with and we know are pretty shy, right? Like, you know, they're all reserved, very introverted.
No fun.
No fun. Not really sure how to talk to people.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things.
He had just won the car on Price is Right too. Yeah. And we gotta go over that story too, because
that was funny.
When we get him on here, we'll have to show it on here.
Oh,
and
for
him
sure.
And we the thing is, and I don't want to steal the thunder on this, and you know, you could put this on like a little snippet, but one day we'll get him on here. The story of the day, of the whole day.
I'm sure, because you had like 20 guys from Northridge.
It is literally,
it's a great story.
It's one of the better days of our lives. It's unbelievable how it goes from, I'll just say this, we're up at like 6 a.m. We're drinking 40s. We're at Carl's Jr. at 8. We're standing in line. We're back in. We're singing the national anthem. Like, people don't know what the hell's going on there. We get on there and Geeter wins a car.
Wins a fucking car.
And then later that night, we go out and throw a huge rager. I mean, just like from 6 a.m. till, you know, it was just a pretty spectacular day.
I've watched that video 20 times.